don't mess with America.
All eyes this morning on Capitol Hill and President Trump's nominee for CIA director, Gina Haspel, making her case before the Senate Intelligence Committee. But today, what did we learn, and did it help her case? Could it have hurt her case? Andy Keiser is a former chief of staff to the House Intelligence Committee. He also served on the Trump transition team. He is up late with me on the Final Five in what I can imagine is a secure, undisclosed location right now. Andy, good to see you.
Great to be on with you.
So we saw Gina Haspel today. She spoke her case. Obviously, you know, anytime you have a confirmation hearing, you're going to have some ammunition from the opposition. How did she do today, do you think?
You know, I thought she did great for someone who's spent their 30-year career at CIA sort of in the shadows. She's not used to the bright lights of the Senate as far as the open aspect of a confirmation hearing. So given that and given the Senate Democrats showed up with some pretty tough questions, I thought she did extraordinarily well.
There was a lot of focus on the talk about black sites and enhanced interrogation in the lead up to this. She was asked some questions about it. She had said if the president did direct her to do it, what would she say? What would her reaction be? She said she wouldn't encourage it. She didn't flat out say no, but that seemed like a pretty good denial that she wouldn't revisit that situation.
You know, I do think that chapter is closed. It was, some 17 years ago. And she indicated, that she would certainly be no part of reinstating that program. Of course, it's no longer lawful anyway, as Congress changed the laws. And we have so many threats around the world that require our national security professionals, I think, to kind of be on the field. We have President Trump and Secretary Pompeo at Andrews Air Force Base this evening, receiving the 3 American hostages, of course, from North Korea. So I think with all that's going on in the world, North Korea, Iran, ISIS, Syria, that's not to mention sort of some emerging crises in Venezuela and other places. I think it's really important that we get her confirmed and get her to work on behalf of all of us.
Yeah, we know Mike Pompeo served in the job for about a year and some months, and he was elevated to Secretary of State. What kind of fundamental differences do you think there would be between a Mike Pompeo, who was formerly a CIA director, and Gina Haspel? Would there be any fundamental differences, or is it pretty much the same playbook?
I think she'll have a slightly lower profile, just given her experience, right?
Yeah.
So you had in Director Pompeo, you had a former member of Congress, someone with a very public profile, and contrast that to someone who, whose literally mission in life was to stay out of the headlines. And so I think you'll see a bit of that. And frankly, that fits just fine with the current national security team, where you have a John Bolton, a Nikki Haley, a Mike Pompeo, who are very comfortable sort of in the public realm. And Gina Haspel can do all the important work that our intelligence professionals do, behind closed doors and late at night all around the world, trying to find that little tidbit of information that might keep us safe.
You mentioned, obviously, the questioning from Senate Democrats. And, let's be honest, anytime you have a confirmation hearing, the other party's obviously going to come, and they're going to come to play, so to speak. I believe the one Republican that was a wild card was Rand Paul at one point. He'd said he wasn't sure how he would go. But it looks like you have Democrats coming to the side of Gina Haspel. So you would expect, I would assume, this to be, when the vote's taken, a positive result for the Trump administration?
I do, yeah. So she has a little bit of a different path because she goes through the Senate Intelligence Committee, not the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. So Senator Paul does not serve on the Intelligence Committee. So her path there is a little clearer, a little, frankly, easier to come out of the committee. And then when she gets to the floor, as you mentioned, there's already at least one Democratic U.S. Senator, Joe Manchin from West Virginia, who's indicated support. So couple that with what seems to be strong GOP support, as you mentioned, minus Senator Paul from Kentucky, and it appears that she'll squeak by. My guess is it'll be a little tighter than Director Pompeo, but in this environment, 50 votes gets the job done, and again, she can get to work.
Yeah, there you have it. Andy Keiser, hey, thanks for your insight tonight.
Pleasure to be with you.
And we're back after this on the Final Five.